The Legend of Mare-Do-Well by JD2K. Chapter 1. Ponyville at night. The stars sparkle in the sky as the moon shines brightly over the sleepy town. Most of its citizens are fast asleep in their beds, with the occasional light still coming on from some well-known nocturnal establishments, such as the bowling alleys, 24 minutes turn, the retirement village's bingo night. And of course, the library, with its main occupant doing some study, as there's a usual activity. However, there is one establishment that is uncharacteristically active at that time of night. Closed to patrons until morning hours, the spa had some of its lights on from within. Upon closer inspection, however, it's anything but a routine inventory check.
I tell you, Asa, coming to this place was a great idea.
The scruffy unicorn with a dirty mustard coat, uneven cut dark green mane and tail, and the kitty mark of an open bag with spilled bits, was using his meager magic skills to grab as many toiletries, lotions, salves, shampoos, aromatherapy blends, and any other artifacts that look remotely expensive or valuable he could find.
We could have entered town hall, that swanky boutique, or even got some well-deserved grub at that crazy gingerbread house bakery. But no, you wanted to hit this time instead, Smoke Chains.
Razor, a sturdy earth point stallion with a chiseled jaw, magenta coat, short-cropped black mane, twin razor blades for a cutie mark. An early raider. Stood there with his saddlebags, filled to the brim with stolen loot, small chains levitated over to him.
Don't be such an egg. This stuff's all made from pure everfree plants. All this loot would sell for a lot among those rich fillies and mares back in Manhattan. I mean, just look at these two faces. All this is worth at least a couple hundred bits more.
Small Chain smirked as he pointed his hoof at the subjects he described. On the floor, bound by their legs and fitted with bridles with ball gag centerpieces on, were the twin spa pony proprietors, whimpering and trying their best to scream through their tight gags. When they heard the door knocking, they thought it was a late-night delivery. By the time they realized their mistake, the large stallion broke in as the skinnier unicorn tied them up and fitted those bridles on them. They were powerless to do anything but watch and hotter.
Yeah, well, let's just get out of here, and as far away as possible. This town gets me the creeks.
His bigger, malevolent cohort mused as he looked around from side to side in caution.
I mean, this place is practically overlooked by the big alleys themselves up there in the castle, on the side of the mountain. Stop being such a scaredy-fitty stud. Both Celestia and Luna can kick a flame for all I care.
The unicorn chuckled.
Almost done here, and alright, I got everything here. We're going to be swimming in bits, and all those honey fillies and prancer paradises in no time.
He then turned his eyes to see the frightened stare at the small twins. Let this cross as a thought goes through his head. Razor, however, snaps him out with a loud snort.
No way in Celestia's name am I going to be holding this stuff like a damn puke mill. Why you do that, bub? Let's scram already!
Small Chain shorts as his eyes turned back to the twins. Lowering his gaze, he blowed them both a kiss, followed by a wink as the two thieves trotted outside. As they did, the smug unicorn stomped on the lantern to snuff out its light, and closed the door behind him. Only the feeble screams and wails of the helpless occupants inside is all that is heard.
Salt licks, liquor joints, fancy platinum plated shin guards, all those beautiful flags.
The giddy unicorn jabbered on as he slowly broke off into a gallop towards the town outskirts and all points beyond.
We're gonna party hard when we get back. Well, I'll even let you try some nightshade.
Nurse Stallion's eyes opened wide.
Nightshade? That stuff's poison, bub. I like salt and loco weed like any other stallion. But nightshade's a death warrant.
Buckteen sneered at him.
What are you, huh? A gilding? You haven't truly lived until you try some What the fuck?!
Both robbers screeched to a halt as a figure jumped in front of them. Something, or some pony, covered in a long, dark, grayish-blue cloak, a stylish-looking purple hat with a broad brim and a dark grayish-blue ribbon on the front of the top. Suddenly, the strange figure got up to reveal an inclined shape, covered in tight purple bodysuit and dark grayish bandages on for all four of his hooves. What they thought of originally was a long cloth was actually a flowing cape that blowed and extended itself in the nighttime breeze, held in place by a brooch placed in the center of its chest, monogrammed with an M against the color folded out from the same purple bolted suit. Suddenly, the figure looked up, and the hoods could see the stranger's face, covered in its head a full cloth mask, the same color as the cape, and two large black pouches where eyes are supposed to be. It looks up to them, somehow, showing a fearsome scowl. The mask has no opening for a mouth or nose, but clearly the shape of its snout, it was most definitely a mare. Despite the foreboding presence, the mare is quite small, and does reach his small chains to his neck. In fact, she's only able to meet the lower part of Razor's chest. Small Chain took a couple of deep breaths to get over the initial scare as he looked down at the still frowning pony, slightly shorter than him.
Hey there, Squirt. Now, that's some nice nightmare night getup you got going there. Aren't you a little early for it, though? Now, why are you out here scaring, upstanding equine citizens such as ourselves, eh?
The mare just stood there silently, never flinching or moving, the scowl never leaving her gaze.
Right. Well, we must be on our way, so excuse us!
Small Chains proclaimed as he took his front hoof and shoved the mare aside. Strangely, she simply slid across the ground without even moving a single muscle by the force of his push. Her head slowly moved to the side as the hateful glare became more pronounced. With that, the two ruffians walked past her and continued on their way. The Unicorn looked back to see the mare still standing in the same pose, her head turned to the side, as he laid an angry eye on him. Stirring slowly, he looked to his cohort, who held a smirk on his face.
What's so funny, huh?
Small Chains muttered angrily.
Nothing. I'm surprised at almighty Small Chains, who stared at the boss of the Griffin Syndicate in the eye. He didn't even flinch. Got spooked by like a baby foal by some silly pony in some fancy night costume,
Razor said with a low chuckle. Trying to maintain his image, the Unicorn protested.
Hey, she got the drop on me, that's her. I swear if I'd seen her coming a mile away, I would have stared her down so well that even a cockatrice would run home to mommy after I'm done with it. I mean, just look at her back there, staring at me as if I just...
Huh? Small Chains' words stopped as he turned back to a point of hoof at the mare, only to see she was gone. We turned our back for a few seconds as she vanished, and to top it off, they were in a wide path with the closest structures being a couple of tent stands some feet away, and some buildings built with adjacent walls, with no alleys between them for some pony to hide. How could she have moved so fast without them ever noticing her?
Buddy, let's get out of here. This place is really starting to... Ah!
Small Chains turned back to face the road, only to see the mare standing right in front of them again. Once more, she glowered strongly, just as before them. The Unicorn's paces had left him.
That's it, Sooty. Mare or no mare, you've made me so mad like a parasite. Buzz off!
He then reared up his body to come down with a crushing blow at the strange pony. Not a second to spare, the mare swung her cape around and snagged Small Chains. He began to gallop around him with great speed, becoming a miniature whirlwind as he goes around and around him. Razor could just stand there, shocked, as the pony stopped galloping. So his Unicorn cohort wrapped up tightly in the pony's cape. One forceful tug as he quickly unraveled him, and he spun out like a tornado until he crashed into an empty bushel basket and goes down for the count. Razor looked down at the costume pony staring up at him.
You little lunt! When I'm done with you, you'll be nothing but diamond or gibbon!
He then unloaded his saddlebags and prepared himself. He started off by swinging his hooves at the mare, and the smaller opponent merely hops from one incoming jab to another. Their stallion then held his ground and launched a powerful roundhouse buck with both hind legs toward her. She ducked in the nick of time. Despite her head avoiding the blow, her hat was hit by the impact and fell to the floor. She turned to stare at her crumpled hat and looked back at Razor with rage in her eyes. The stallion starts again with a jab, only for the pony to grab her hat and toss it at his face, causing him to stumble around blindly with unconcentrated swings. She blocked his closest strikes with ease and managed to land one of her own on his chest. Not enough to hit him hard, but enough to knock some wind out of him. She then followed it up by jumping and clapping her front hose together at the size of his head to further dizzy him. Razor felt a stinging pain and wringing from his head by the mare's impact. As he finally shook the hat off his face, fuming, he lowered his thick head, ready to swing upward and try to jam for the pony's jawbone. The mare immediately counters by placing both her front hooves forward, just as he lifts his heavy head, allowing her to shoot upwards into the air by the force. Staring up while maintaining his balance from his earlier ear ringing, Razor looked up to see a mare do a gymnastic flip in midair and hit both her hind legs forward in a powerful drill kick that hit him directly on top of his head. The blow was more than enough to make him stumble and crash on the floor, unconscious. The mare watched back where Razor tossed her head earlier, placed it back on her head. She then stood up in alert and swiftly rolled to the side. A magical aura enhances her cart, visits her by inches, breaks it to splinters on the ground as she stood on. Looking back in the direction of the cart's flight, Small Change is there with a black eye and lump over his snoot. His horn glowed fiercely as he picked up another cart from nearby and tosses it at her. The mare once again dodges with ease. By now, the unicorn had just enough as he starts to grab whatever is around nearby. Bushes, wooden wheels, empty crates, hay carts, kitchen sink, and anything else that wasn't firmly on the floor and flinged at the mare. Lowering her eyes carefully, she leaps into the air and stands nimbly on one of the tossed hay carts. Maintaining balance, she leapt from item to item as she approached her target. Small Change just stood there in shock and fear. Who is this mysterious mare, and why is she so good? Finally, she jumped off the spokes of one of the wooden wheels thrown at her. She spreads her legs out and belly flops right on top of Small Change, putting an end to his attacks. Lying her on the ground, he looked up with his remaining good eye to see the mare standing over him, her cold blue eyes staring at him. Small Change finally was able to not take it anymore.
No, please. Some pony, any pony, get this mare away from me, please!
With that, he crosses his front legs over his face and begins to weep. Soon, he begins to hear voices and to look up to see that not only had the mare vanished, but some of the town's ponies started to wake as the lights turned on everywhere. They came out to see what the ruckus was all about. Small Change didn't care for whatever the royal courts would throw at him. Anything is better than staying in Ponyville and meeting that scary costume pony again. Immediately, he confessed to his crimes, telling me he tied the Spa Twins up. He feels all the stolen loot, and even starts to confess a variety of crimes throughout Equestria, committed by both him and Razor, that spanned from Manhattan to Trondheim. The townspeople were all shocked, but had a feeling what happened just now.
It's Mare-Do-Well! Mare-Do-Well saved us all again!
The flower trio proclaimed in unison as every pony began to cheer. Soon enough, word is sent to Canterlot, and right on time, some Royal Guard Pegasi arrived with a present cart. They hauled Small Change and the unconscious Razor inside and flew back to Canterlot. All the while, the unicorn kept shouting and confessing crimes in fear the weird mare would return, including the one time he once stole an extra cookie from the pantry without his mother's knowledge. Other ponies took the saddle bags with the stolen items back to the small ponies, or later untied and told about what happened, and they gave a silent thank you to Mare-Do-Well for saving their business. They are then taken to the hospital for any trauma from the ordeal. As all this occurred, Mare-Do-Well looked down silently at her grateful populace from a vantage point on top of a nearby roof, cape flapping against the night breeze. Another disaster averted. Not only once, she turned around and hopped away nimbly from rooftop to rooftop. Twilight Sparkle heard the commotion outside, but didn't even seem fit to find her out. Knowing whatever disaster occurred, it would be quickly taken care of. With a soft reddish aura, as he flipped the next page of the tomes he was currently studying, and wrote down what notes with a quill in the scroll nearby. Suddenly, the door to the library creaked open, spooking Owly Ulysses from his perch. Twilight didn't bother turning, so she knew exactly who it was.
So, what was it tonight?
Drunk carting, mugging, burglary, robbery? The Crusaders again on one of their midnight Kingmark quests? Twilight mused as he moved in from the next page. Silence. The prized unicorn pupil sighs, and turns around seeing Mare-Do-Well stand silently. Eyes is fixed on her with no emotion.
Well, I really am impressed. You take this whole business seriously.
It would be hard for me to communicate with you, despite you being Ponyville's charades champ like you said so. Relax. You go back to being you here. Mare-Do-Well nods once as she takes off her hat, reaching down to her neck to reveal a secret seam. softly pulling up. Her mask crumpled towards the cape, and the keeper detests you. It reveals the sweat soak, but still smiling expression of Pinkie Pie.
Oh, you so sick my sleep moves out there, Twilight. I was like, rah, yeah. And there's a leap into the air. It's about a huge stallion that would make Big Man tassel like a coat. And even heels little man could quite scupper when you single he's like man, so that's a crazy mad bull. The trespass has to have leggings one time, and one good back to the story according to the story. Applejack told me when he was a little Billy, and that reminds me, I really should thank you for giving me these changes that he used to help fortify Bugs McGillicuddy. I wasn't expecting, but it really helps me out. Oh, and this really big mean fancy the car came out and started throwing everything at me. Zoom, 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 zoom. I stepped on each one and my Disney trail went mad. But how can you imagine? It's just my deal. I like it being happy. And what makes me happy are parties with chocolate cake and muffins and cupcakes and sarsaparilla, dancing to my jam and playing the tin and the tail and the bonnet.
Twilight quickly grabbed the Mare-Do-Well mask with her magic and pulled it back over Pinkie Pie's face, causing her to finally stop talking. At least he is crazy enough to keep that rule while in costume with the mask on, so he never has to talk. Twilight sighed in relief as she finally looked at her costume friend.
Pinkie, I don't know what motivates you. After what we did to Rainbow Dash, you insisted on keeping your costume well. Applejack, Larzai and I threw ours away, once the rarities fit. Then you told us you wanted to stay as her. Do you really enjoy being a hero?
Mare-Do-Well lowered her head a bit and gave a small nod. Unicorn and the rest of her friends, and ask her why she does what she does. Being both Ponyville premier party planner and assistant baker in Sugar Cube Corner, as well as Mare-Do-Well, would be tired for any regular pony. But not Pinkie. She just seems to have extra energy to spare. Sir, the ponies all wonder why Mare-Do-Well doesn't use magic anymore, like she did when she fixed the dam, or used wings when she flew by after that deed. We're still happy to have her around. After observing her from a careful distance, remembering the last time she tried to question Pinkie Pie's abilities all too painfully, Twilight simply deduced that the ponies of Ponyville have hope in their hearts, having a hero who never backs down like Mare-Do-Well, and protecting them in times when asking for aid from Canterlot took too long. Pinkie, being the embodiment of the element of laughter, must feed off the joy felt by others, and that gave her strength. It also could her Pinkie's sense, strange interactions with the natural world seemed to help her all the time. She was practically born to be a super mare. Hence, why she and the rest of the girls decided to simply let her continue with the mantle of Mare-Do-Well. Any other pony would have burnt out by now from having such an exhausting double life, and Pinkie Pie, the party hostess, bakery helper, and Mare-Do-Well, the mysterious heroine embody. But she does it just fine. With a satisfied sigh, she placed the front hoof on her custom friend's side.
Please never change. You're both laughter and now hope. Never lose those ideals with both the elements of harmony and the ponies of Ponyville bestow upon you. You're welcome to visit me any time, in case you need to read more books on Far East martial arts whenever you desire, okay?
Mare-Do-Well, despite not being able to show any facial expression, had her blue cough suddenly turn moist pads as a small tear manages to seep out from the mask and landed on the floor as she gave her purple unicorn friend a silent hug. After releasing her, she put her pet back on, flung her cape around, and softly moved up the stairs towards the open window. Twilight turned around and used her magic to once again pick up the quill.
Don't be a stranger now,
she calls out, only to know she was long gone. The prized pupil merely smiles. How long she wishes to send a friendship report about this to Princess Celestia. Besides not to, for fear some pony other than her would read it, find out Mare-Do-Well's secret identity. All she and the rest of her friends and Spike, who know the identity, can do, is tear silently from the sidelines. The legend of Mare-Do-Well trots along.